Hello, good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from our news app at Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, government under pressure to deal decisively with the menace of illegal mining as Organized Labour and Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining joint calls for ban on small-scale mining, but the government has its own plans. Stay with us. We're getting to it here on Ghana Tonight. At long last, it must be a relief for Dr. Kabiru Mahama as the NPP acclaims him as a parliamentary candidate for the Walewale constituency. That's the home constituency of the flag bearer of the party. What does the party's decision mean, and how does this impact on the party's fortunes going into this election? Already, we've seen some pockets of protests. Some persons who are against the party's decision to acclaim Dr. Kabiru Mahama. We'll get into that. Your Election Command Center assesses the chances of some independent candidates going into this election, and the latest from Global Info Analytics is on our radar as well here on Ghana Tonight. As always, you are an integral part of the conversation. We are big and heavy on illegal mining and matters arising. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has been speaking to some senior journalists and editors earlier today. In fact, the last 2 hours, he's been talking about this. We're getting to some of the responses he's been giving to the calls for a state of emergency to be declared because of the state of the illegal mining we find ourselves in right now. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
Government has tasked the regional security councils across the country to strictly enforce mining laws. This comes in the wake of multiple demands and suggestions by various groups for urgent action to be taken. Meanwhile, Organized Labour has handed government up until September 30 to deal with illegal mining or risk a nationwide strike. The workers want a total ban on all mining activities in the country.
An order to halt all forms of mining, that legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. The deployment of the police and the military with full orders to remove, destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserves. Establish a special court to persecute the perpetrators of this horrible, heinous crime.
After years of repeatedly pursuing the presidency, seeking to have his name on the ballot paper, Alan Tremantin may finally be able to see himself on the ballot paper when the Electoral Commission clears him to contest as an independent candidate after the Commission scrutinizes his nomination forms. He will be partnering Kwame Owusu-Danso, a lawyer and former musician.
I said I was going to deliver to you a young person to be my vice presidential nominee. I've done so by nominating a very fine gentleman, a lawyer by profession, a political activist, a broadcast journalist, and someone who has been fighting for you, the young people, by name of Kwame Owusu-Danso.
The NDC flag bearer has expressed worry over the lack of a dedicated funding for government's health infrastructure project Agenda 111. With an initial number of 88 and later changed to 111, the government is rolling out these hospitals in all districts to make healthcare accessible. Speaking to journalists in Sunyani of the Bono region, John Mahama is casting doubt on the completion of the projects before the end of tenure.
You know, we started so many projects at the same time. We need dedicated funding for. Nebebane say, at the end of their term, no, they will leave a lot of uncompleted hospital projects because Mehun Bebrea contracted any site. Omo Buaso, Omo Plaster. no windows yet, no doors, no equipment, nothing. But Makase, we're not going to stop any projects. We'll continue. Project Bia, Kosubia, we'll let them continue.
New Patriotic Party Vice Presidential nominee Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh has issued a strong warning to individuals planning to cause disturbances before and during the December elections. Dr. Opoku Prempeh, on a campaign tour at the Isunafo South constituency of the Ahafo region, said anyone caught engaging in violent activities would be dealt with appropriately.
Anyone who has a gun or a cutlass to create trouble during the election should desist from it. We are using our terms to vote for a peaceful election coming December. Anyone who decides to create trouble during this election will be apprehended by the law.
Legal practitioner Efwa Gati is promising a united Ghana Bar Association after being elected as the professional body's first female president. She beat off competition from Agbesi Jakpasu in her third bid for the presidency. She assured lawyers of her commitment to improving the fortunes of the association.
From this day forward, it is a united bar in service. No divisions, no factions. It is over. It is time that we put our shoulders to the plow and work. We shall serve you with all our ability, and we shall make sure that you will never, never regret this choice.
As more news on 3news.com, make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, government is saying it is stepping up efforts to deal with the menace of illegal mining, but it appears that's a little too late, or rather insufficient in terms of convincing organized labor and civil society. What are the specific issues at play here? And that's what we're going to sink our teeth into here on Ghana Tonight. And stay with me, because look, we're going to show you the evidence of why we say that this threat of illegal mining is closer to all of us than we think. You might just be eating something that you may have probably, or you may be at risk of all the attendant threats that comes with the impact of illegal mining. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. But organized labor has threatened to go on a nationwide strike should the government fail to deal with illegal mining, as in put pragmatic measures in place immediately. The workers want, among other things, a total ban on all activities in the country related to that small-scale mining, and the declaration of a state of emergency. They held a press conference earlier today. Take a look.
An order to halt to all forms of mining, that legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. The deployment of the police and the military with full orders, and I want to repeat, with full orders, to remove, destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserves. Establish a special court to persecute the perpetrators of this horrible, heinous crime. Organized labor will urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address the concerns raised by end of the month, September 2024.
This one, we are serious. You cross us, we'll roll over you, we'll crush you. This Galamsey menace has not got any political color. It's ourselves, we the people, we are going to suffer.
President sworn an oath to protect our lives and protect all of us. Today, the call is that, President, you must live up to your constitutional obligation, a state of emergency, because this is an emergency.
They are destroying their head. We are destroying this one. Now look at the other aspect of it. After destroying this one, then we ask the children when they come to school, so we give them one nutritious meal. Wheat meal can restore something that mercury has damaged. We are giving His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, up to the ending of this month. And believe you me, we are now between life and death. We refuse to die. We refuse to die. And whatever we can do for us and for the children yet unborn, every year, the number that I've given you, 880,000 of them, we are not only fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for our children.
The fight is not just an economic fight, but it's also a social fight to save ourselves for today, and then save the crops that we grow for export, save the crops that we grow for consumption.
Well, so what we've shown you right now is just a combination of a number of the leaders of the various labor unions, that's the TUC Secretary General, Joshua Ansah, you saw him there. Also, the CLOCSAG head, we're talking about Dr. Isaac Bampuado, he's a leader of the forum as well, and Thomas Musa Tanko, he's the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. He's going to be joining us on Zoom in a bit because there's a development to some of the demands that they are making of government. For instance, the declaration of the state of emergency. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has been responding to that at a major engagement earlier this evening. We'll get into that. But let me show you why you should all be concerned about the threats and impact of illegal mining. It's closer to us, it's in our homes, much more than we think, because you might just be consuming some food that is either prepared with water contaminated as a result of illegal mining and chemicals, but you do not know about it. We caught up with this trader in Buraman. My colleagues in Connect FM in Takrady spoke to her over the weekend. Take a look.
We buy alum, 10 cedis, and put in the water before it becomes clean. We then mix it when preparing acheke, which we sell in Brahman here, Takrady, and even in Accra.
Alum 10 cedi, and your woman soon and ya say, as near the messe acheke. Aban yes, slow, one will compare being neat, Duramai assasso. In so way a beer son, yes, sir, and no,
we are begging government. There's no proper borehole here. You have allowed Chinese Galamsey operators to destroy our water bodies and farmlands.
Yes, the one matana for the Guyas, so as say yes, as I say a cocoa, as I say a Japadin in idea.
Even water to drink is difficult to find. Why mine our gold and destroy our water bodies in addition?
So, Baba campaign and the Balabos the sea assassin, so I can say yen to a bafamano. Yes, you can be a here boy channel for best Sakumi in a flash assessor. Oh, but my sister, Duramas assessor, and you're easy. Move back to your Japade papa be a yogurt at your quap. I said, do your cocoa in a good year. I buy your straw. And need your massation, so you're benucopa. I had it. What should the one cobble and ya transfer the ya? I had to say.
Well, so that's Buraman, and guess what? She gives you an idea of where the acheke. I'm sure a number of you like acheke, just as I do. Where the acheke goes, the ones they prepare. They sell some in Accra, Takrady. You might be scratching your head right now thinking about the acheke you just ate this evening and whether you're at risk of what she's talking about. But that's the reality. They're buying alum, 10 cedis, to purify that polluted water before it becomes a little clean for them to be able to use it. That's the reality that we're faced with right now. These are the demands of TUC and some civil society organizations, including likes of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Take a look at this. Declaration of a state of emergency. That's number one. They're asking that the president declares a state of emergency. That's how serious the situation is. Abrogation of concessions overlapping river buffers. Abrogation of entry permits allowing access to globally significant biodiversity areas like the Tiwa Forest. Repeal of law allowing mining in forest reserves. Presidential candidates should publicly declare their support, total support for this crisis response. And let's deal with the first one, shall we? The declaration of the state of emergency. There was a question that was put to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, just some 3 hours ago when he interacted with some senior journalists and editors. And he had this to say about this demand for the president to declare a state of emergency. Take a look.
The comments and interventions of TUC, UTAC, professional bodies, unions, journalists, and Ghanaians are not to be dismissed. That's where I think we should begin from. We should listen to them, and those are views that they have analyzed and put forward, and I intend to engage various professional bodies, including TUCs. And I believe through that, we may be able to polish our policy and our approach in dealing with this matter. And we will do so. Now, forest reserves. Small-scale mining is not permitted in forest reserves. So the question about illegal small-scale mining in forest reserves, I think it is more about having the right mechanism to prevent such illegalities in our forest reserves. The law doesn't permit small-scale mining in forest reserves. Declare a state of emergency, that is within the bosom of the president, but I find that to be a far-reaching, really, a very draconian measure to take. And so we will engage them, and we will have this conversation. And I believe out of that, we may be able to come up with some consensus which we can work with.
So that's the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources there, Samuel Abujinapo, earlier this evening. He makes two emphatic statements. And Musa Tanko, Thomas Musa Tanko is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. He's joining us on Zoom right now. But then you hear the minister also make that emphatic statement that small-scale mining in its forms, various, is not allowed or permitted in forest reserves. The Tiwa Forest is a forest reserve. I was in the Tiwa Forest. There's small-scale, illegal small-scale mining going on there because we met some of these Galamsey operators in the heart of that Tiwa Forest. That's contrary to what the minister is saying, but take a look at this.
This is the chamfa, which crushes the stones.
That is being made now. The director of this man, whoever is financing him, should be the target and focus of government in the next fight against illegal mining. Who are the real Galamsey operators, the financiers of these young men and women in the forest that we arrest. So when we arrest them, then what next? Thomas Musa Tanko, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has a response for your demand for the president to declare a state of emergency. He says that it's far-reaching and somewhat draconian. That's the initial reaction to this demand that you're making. Mr. Tanko.
Thank you very much. I think if you look at the article we quoted carefully, it has to do with Article 31. And if you look at the Article 31, Clause 9 that we quoted, or that we are making reference to, it fulfills all requirements that the state of emergency should be declared. And I think it's important for us to remind the Honorable Minister for Education that it was not a ministerial seat that was put on the line. It was not an MP seat that was put on the line. It was the Jubilee seat. So when the president was talking, the president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, put his presidency on the line. It was not a ministerial seat. It was not an MP seat. It was the seat of government. That was what was put on the line. And so the issue before us now is a presidential issue. It is not a ministerial issue, with the greatest of respect to him. And therefore, we are also taken aback and surprised at his response. And so what we are saying is this. Having looked at Article 31 carefully, all the requirements there have been fulfilled. Look, Alfred, I indicated today that we are talking about 880,000 children that are born every day. What water are they coming to drink? The minister should tell us, what water? Are they coming to drink the River Pra? Are they coming to drink the River Biring? Is that what they are coming to drink? Is that what he's talking about? In any case, is he aware that the children that we are talking about, those born between the ages, I'm even talking only about children here. I am not talking about the environment that we've lost and the kind of the cancers and all the challenges that the health challenge. I'm talking here about the children because I am in education, so I only zero in on education. Look, children between the ages of 5 to 17 years, we are 21% of them are into child labor. 21%. And I can tell that 40% of them are into hazardous labor. So in order to put it in figure terms, or to make it simple, any 5 children you see, 1 is into child labor. And the 4 that have been coming to school, because of the levels of pollution, those 4 children now, most of them are no longer coming to school. They go long distances to go and look for water. And those who also come to school, they are suffering from cancers, among other things. Are we waiting for all of us to die before you know that there is something happening? The Constitution provides clearly that when the lives of the people are threatened, and also in the interest of national security, you need to declare a state of emergency. That is what we are talking about. We are talking about the pollution of the water. Look, in any case, we are talking about here about school feeding. The question is, the children that have gotten the cancers and all that, and those who are having those brain problems, that the nutritious meal that the government is providing, can that cure those challenges? How can state-sponsored irresponsibility create problems for children? Then we tell the children that when you come, we'll give you 1 nutritious meal. In any case, how can the children then even come to school? Please, my brother Alfred, what we are saying is that this matter is not a ministerial matter. This matter is not an MP matter. It was His Excellency, our own president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who put his presidency on the line. And we are saying that the Galamsey issue, let me borrow the words of Reverend Lawrence Tete. Let me borrow his words, that this Galamsey nonsense thing must stop. And we have given the president up to the end of September. Believe you me, if September ends and nothing happens, Alfred, I tell you, organized labor will provide appropriate response. And this time, any call that will be given to us will not yield to it. Because we are determined, together with our wives, together with our children, we will not sit down and die because we are now between death and life.
Right.
That is the situation now. We are between death and life. But we choose life. And we are going to fight for our lives, the lives of our wives, the lives of our children, and the lives of the children who are yet to be born. That's the 880,000 of them that are born every year. We are fighting for them. And if the state of emergency is not declared by the ending of this particular month, Alfred, I can assure you that in October, organized labor, we will rise to the occasion.
Indeed, in rising to the occasion, the clear message you're sending, and I get the saying that in the next 19 days ahead of us, if the president does not declare a state of emergency and also announce some pragmatic measures put in place to deal with this, you're going to declare a nationwide strike. You're shutting down government business. TUC, that's what's happening.
I can assure you that the text that we have given to it, we shall deliver every item of it to the letter. We will not miss anything. We will deliver it to the letter. We are resolved, and we are determined. We are working together with other civil society organizations that please let nobody take us for granted this time round. Let me tell you something. Somebody was asking, why have you waited up to this particular time and we are talking? You see, we gave the president the benefit of hindsight. When the president came to tell us that, look, this time around, I put my presidency on the line, that I will make sure the Galamsey menace is corrected. We trusted him. We believe the president, because to the extent that he has made that promise, we understood that our lives were at stake, and the president has appreciated him, and will do everything to ensure that we will not die of mercury, we will not die of those dangerous chemicals. But where we've got into, the Ghana Medical Association we are giving us enough evidence, among others, about the challenges, and the one coming from Cape Coast recently. We don't need any further evidence again. In fact, if you go to River Birim, if you go to River Pra and the rest, Alfred, you shed tears for us. Why? What is our offense? Our children can no longer go to school. Our children are dying. They are going into Galamsey. Our children are going into child labor. Those who even come to school, they are having brain problems. Why? Why? So we are saying that we are now between death and life. And because we have chosen life, we will fight for the lives of our loved ones, the lives of our children, and nothing will stop us from doing that. And this time around, we have given the president that, Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, you promised us, right, and we trusted you, and we are hoping that by September ending, you will not let us down. We are looking up to you that by September ending, you will give us that hope.
I see, but Mr. Tango, and I want to, beyond this and quickly, beyond this state of emergency you want the president to declare, what other measures do you expect that between now and the end of this month, 19 days away from today, the president should announce, put in place to deal with this emergency situation with the illegal mining we're talking about? Because the minister says he wants to engage you.
We indicated that the president should establish a specific court for Galamsey. Because you see, I have already told you, this Galamsey nonsense must stop. And until we start punishing the people involved, they will take us for granted. The people involved in Galamsey, they are taking our collective good for granted. They are taking our very survival for granted. They are taking our very life for granted. They don't care whether we live or die. They don't care. And that is why we are there. There should be a court to deal with this specific thing. And we have also said the law that gave them the mandate to be doing this thing, that law should be revoked. And we say at this particular point in time where we are, because we are between life and death. And but this time we are counting only minutes, because at any time in moment, people are getting cancers and all that. So we are saying that the law should be put aside, and whether you have certificate, whether you have permit, whatever, all mining should be put on hold, because it is a state of emergency. So let nobody tempt us. And I repeat, for the minister, we have great respect for him. But this matter is not a ministerial matter. And I repeat, this matter is not a ministerial matter. When the president was talking, he spoke on authority, putting his own presidency on the line. It was not a ministerial job that was put on the line.
Right.
It was not an MP seat that was put on the line. It is a presidential job that was put on the line. So the minister can this time come and tell us what he has. As for the letter that he has written, we decline his invitation.
Why is that?
We decline his invitation. We will not even go there at all. We are dealing with, or we are engaging our own president, His Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. September ending, we want to hear something from him. And good news, of course. And the good news is that state of emergency should be declared. The courts, there should be processes to put them in place. Okay. The law giving them mandate to put the mining in place should be revoked. Okay. And aside that one, all mining activities in the forest areas, among other, all mining activities must
should also cease.
And then we can take it out from there. We hope these things will be granted by September ending, so that our country will rise again, so that our children can go to school. Alfred, I am very, 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 very sad this evening.
I can see that.
And even my tears want to come out because of the things I went to Prague to see. Because of the things I went to Dream to see. Anytime I shed tears, anytime I see them. I am really shocked at the minister that he is telling us that they are giving some people to go and enforce what? At this time of the day, when the children are dying and people are dying, please, they should take us serious. Alfred, my tears are coming out. I can't help it because I go around every day. I see what the children go through.
Yeah.
I see what our parents go through. And this is the time that His Excellency, the President, will show love.
Mr. Dankwa, Musa Tanko, appreciate your time. And we bear with you in this and kindly hold back your tears. But if you have to shed tears for where we are, please do so with all the kind of emotion that comes with it. But we thank you so much for pouring out your heart to us here on Ghana Tonight. And I'm sure this resonates with a lot of people who are watching us right now. Thank you for connecting with us here on Ghana Tonight. And Thomas Musa Tanko is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. They come face to face as well with the impact of illegal mining in all of these communities across the country. This leads us to our manifesto check here on your Election Command Center. Dennis Paberi Wadam is here. When was the last time you ate acheke?
I'm not really a fan of it. I don't remember when last I did. Yeah, I may be, but I cannot be safe under the circumstances.
Tell me.
Because many really cannot understand why. I mean, there's a lot of outrage out there about this whole Galamsey. But I think if we put these things to perspective, people will know how, in many ways, they are affected by this particular menace. So for Galamsey, Manifesto check today, we're still staying our steam on Galamsey, but today we're looking at how much of Galamsey, how it impacted much on our lives.
That's right.
And we are doing so because there had been a promise by the president, willing to put his presidency on the line. So we're taking that as a pledge that he's made to the people. So as a matter of fact, we did not expect to see the things that we are seeing now. So this we just simply call the ravages of Galamsey. And in about 6 pointers, you can appreciate how much devastation it has caused. Now we are looking at over 19,000 hectares of cocoa farms that have been destroyed by this illegal mining we are talking about. 19,000 hectares of cocoa farms.
So bring it home so people can relate.
So when we're talking about 19 hectares, just imagine the size of a standard football field.
Like the Babayaras
yes.
that has been banned by CAF.
Exactly.
I see.
So when you can imagine that, now imagine over 35,000 of such fields put together. That's how much farmlands of cocoa that have been devastated just by illegal mining.
Does it surprise you that we have a continuous reduction in the cocoa
industry, and we even have evidence of cocoa farmers themselves saying that, okay, we are making so much money, I don't mine cocoa, I've given my land to illegal mining.
This is serious.
So that's how much land we are losing, or farms we are losing. This comes at a time where there's also a threat of food security because there is an issue with rainfall and drought in some parts of the country. So this is alarming. So when you hear civil society, when you hear the labor unions express concern about illegal mining, they are looking at these things. It just doesn't end there. Every day we talk about how water is life and how when the last tree dies, last human being dies.
True.
We are looking at 13 major rivers that have become undrinkable. As for aquatic life, very little about it. And these rivers include the Tano River, the Ankobra River, Brim, Pra, Densu, Black Volta. They've become undrinkable.
Wow.
I mean, this may not sound appropriate, but in some parts of the country, people still rely heavily on this for their drinking
because
water.
That's the option
yes.
they have, is it not?
It just doesn't end there. Now, when you take every 10 chronic kidney diseases, we are told 8 of them are coming from Galamsey communities.
Wow.
8 out of 10. And this is also more disturbing because of how we are even dealing with kidney issues now and how our health facilities are unable to even accommodate the numbers and the cost of it. So when you put all of these things together, you can appreciate how much pain, and when you hear Musa saying that he's shedding tears, I mean, if you look at it from this light, you can appreciate what is happening. It doesn't end there, Alfred. We also know that now 50% of treated water lost due to 60% right in turbidity. What it means is that 50% of our water cannot be treated anymore. That is because the turbidity level has gone beyond the point where you can treat it.
That's the level of pollution we're talking
about. And now this, the Ghana Water Company, has said it not once, not twice, not thrice. Directly connected to that is the fact that if this does not stop anytime soon, we may have to import water by 2030.
That's just some 5 years away from now.
Yes. And we heard Stanley Matic say that on this particular platform when we spoke to him somewhere last week.
Yeah.
There's also the other disturbing part where birth deformities reported, and we are now reporting birth deformities in Galamsey communities. It's the reason you hear the health unions also come together to raise concerns about the health implications of Galamsey in our communities. We are also told again that 3.5 of agricultural lands, that's close to 4.7 hectares, the size of the whole of Greater Accra, if you can imagine in that sense, has also been destroyed by Galamsey. Put all of these things together, and that will be the verdict for today.
That's the catastrophe, you know, the level of destruction. It's an apocalyptic situation that we find ourselves in, is it not?
It is, and that's the more reason why we all should be concerned. We should put aside the politics, we should put aside the personal interest and deal with it head on. So for Manifesto Check today, the fight against Galamsey, has there been one? This is the verdict.
The verdict certainly doesn't look good.
Not at all. It's with the people.
It is with the people indeed. Dennis Poberwadam, I thank you so much for this. And just bear in mind that it's closer than you think. The risks associated with this illegal mining that we've been shouting about over the period. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, protests against the decision of the new Patriotic Party National Executive Committee to acclaim Dr. Kabiru Mahama as the new Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for the Walewale constituency. Why exactly these protests? We find out here on your election command center. And we have the latest on that earlier today. The party, the National Executive Committee of the NPP, acclaimed Dr. Kabiru Mahama after the incumbent Member of Parliament for this Walewale constituency, Haja Zueratu, decided to withdraw from the race. This is your election command center. So the National Executive Committee of the NPP eventually took a decision today after the incumbent for the Walewale constituency withdrew. We dealt with it quite extensively yesterday on Ghana Tonight. The party has taken a decision. Dr. Kabiru Mahama is the man they're going with into election 2024 in the home constituency of the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Walewale constituency. And we've shown you the strength and the mettle of the NDC candidate in that constituency. The NPP believes Dr. Kabiru Mahama is the man who would match this NDC candidate, Abdallah Abubakar, boot for boot, I mean, for the lack of better expression. But this is the national chair of the NPP, Stephen and team, after that NEC meeting earlier today. Take a look.
Now, candidate we need a PM one what is the way forward for Oma a bit of Coco dear Kunkong? What is the way forward?
We have resolved it. David Asante has been on standby. to hear something like maybe there will be a next primary or something like that. But that's not going to happen. The candidates, there's 2 of them, right? 1 step down, and the other is good.
Okay, Chairman, I'm independent, and then I got 2 days to make a file. Now, I'm use a question nomination. At the end, I'm more found. Independent. Are you trying to reach out with them?
Oh, independent. Even the day before the general election, right? You can get them to step down.
Has it been any deliberate discussions with Cynthia Morrison?
We are working on Cynthia more central, right? Yeah. She's a party member, committed party member. She may be aggrieved in one way or the other. Yeah. We are going to press on her to drop it. Friday is the closing day, but that is immaterial as far as getting an independent person candidate to step down. So even after Friday, we can still get her.
So, would you say this meeting really was a fruitful discussion?
Oh yes, very much so. That's why I'm able to engage with you to answer your questions.
Okay.
That's the national chair of the party. So the party has taken a decision. Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama is the man they're going with. But if you recall, in January, yes, he won that disputed election. That's the primaries that was quashed by that court decision with some 345 of the valid vote cast on that day, January 27 this year. Well, guess what? What we're learning is that some NPP youth in the Walewale constituency earlier today cautioned the party's national executive council against any decision that would put Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama as their candidate. That's the NPP candidate in the Walewale constituency. In fact, a number of them massed up and protested that decision by the neck that said no Hajia Zueratu, no vote. Take a look.
Bridge the gap between the various factions and gather widespread support from all sides. Furthermore, the parliamentary election primaries conducted on the 9th were marred by controversies and chaos. An altercation involving Mr. Musa, an agent of KB, escalated into violence, resulting in the destruction of essential ballot papers. Despite this destruction, it was evident from the party's sorting of the vote that Hajia Larba Abudu was in a leading position. This evidence underscores our belief that her candidacy remains strong and that her decision to step down is both premature and unjustified. We are unequivocally prepared and believe it is impossible to adequately support Dr. Kabiru Mahama Tia if he is being selected by NEC as the candidate for the Walewale constituency.
Well, there you have it. So those are supporters of Hajia Zueratu, not too happy about the decision she took. And Christopher Mwako is a man on the ground. He's been monitoring the developments there. He's joining us. Chris, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And we're hearing the supporters now of Hajia Zueratu. What more do we know about the currency on the ground as we speak?
Yes, so Alfred, you know that the situation in Walewale is a very serious one that needs the NPP to take a very bold step in addressing the issues there in order for them to win that particular seat. A lot has happened over the period from January 27 till now. A lot more has been happening on daily basis, especially so when a cross-section of the youth earlier today came out to hold a press conference to, as it were, first of all, register their displeasure on the part of their candidate, that is Hajia Larba Zuera Abudu, to have withdrawn from the contest without informing them. They actually registered their displeasure in that regard, and also registered their displeasure in the fact that some party bigwigs earlier didn't want Hajia to win the constituency primary, and so that accounted for all this. But they also sent a caution to the NPP as a political party not to confirm Dr. Kabiru as the parliamentary candidate, which the party has since done. And so right now in the Walewale constituency, I must say the camps are sharply divided between supporters of Dr. Kabiru and Hajia Lariba Abudu. Alfred, I must say that the NPP, if they actually want to win the Walewale constituencies, they have a lot to do as it stands now, because the youth are sharply divided when it comes to the support base. And so a lot more has to go into the constituency if actually the NPP wants to win the seat. But Alfred, let me just add that you know that in the 2020 elections, the NPP did not do so well than the NDC. The gap is just a little over 1,600. And
That's
so
true.
it's that the NDC with a little push, they can cause some trouble in the constituency.
And it's important that you make that point, and it's the symbolic nature of this constituency being the constituency of the vice president, the flag bearer of the party. Let's bring in that's Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Suleiman. He is a campaigner for Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama. He's a campaign manager for Dr. Tia Mahama, who's been confirmed now as the party's candidate in the Walewale constituency. Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Suleiman, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you and your listeners.
Have you seen this video of these young men and women, as a matter of fact, who say they are supporters of the NPP and not too happy about the decision to acclaim Dr. Kabiru as the candidate for the Walewale constituency, and for that reason they say the party risks losing their support? Have you seen that?
Well, those who came out and did the press conference this evening, all of them are wearing the face of National Democratic Party. They are not well recognized in the face of New Patriotic Party in the Walewale constituency.
They are members of NDC.
They are members of NDC opposition. So their aim is to carry the image of the New Patriotic Party in the Walewale.
The people we saw in the video were saying they are supporters of Hajia Zuiratu are members of NDC.
They have fake their support based on the face of Honorable Hajia Lariba Abudu. And you can even look on their faces that Hajia Zuiratu Abudu is the blood of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Had they been their NPP supporters in the Walewale constituency, they wouldn't have come out to show their support to NDC.
Interesting. Well, thank you for this. And it's something that we would look into, because Chris is on the ground. Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Suleiman, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I'm going to go for